Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's good to see you. This is a reading for Leo moons, or if you have significant Leo placements in your chart and are needing a feminine energy to work with or balance within yourself, then this reading is for you. So Leo, your reading feels very lovely. Your energy is feeling really like free and open is kind of how this is feeling. It feels like you're having a breakthrough, actually, is kind of what your energy is feeling like. So if we just go through like the overall context of the reading, we're starting off here with the Ace of Inspirations, which is this sort of breakthrough energy. It could be in terms of creativity or what it is that you're creating, right? Some sort of breakthrough in terms of what you're passionate about, or something that you love, or something that just feels like warmth, and it just feels like something that's very warm. I don't know how else to describe it. Like warm, it fills you with energy, that kind of thing. Like I feel like you're having some sort of breakthrough about that, because all of these cards behind that are kind of feeling like searching for an answer, right? You have here the Four of Voices and the Hierophant, which is talking about sort of like seeking your inner guidance, or guidance from others perhaps, or meditating, like waiting for an answer because of all of this sort of confusion. The Five of Voices and the Seven of Emotions, which is kind of like this Five of Voices I see as being like a distracting energy, right? There's something distracting that's drawing your attention. And with the Seven of Emotions, this could be talking about a lot of options, right? Like there could be a lot of options being presented to you, or things that are like unclear. You're trying to pick the right choice or something like that. But it's like here is the breakthrough, is kind of how this is feeling, which is really lovely. And the fairy cards to come out to support that, I pulled a lot. I'm not going to go through each of them individually, but basically I feel like what it is that you're breaking through, Leo, is fear, is kind of how this is feeling. Fear, and perhaps like sadness, or an energy of like telling yourself that you can't have good things, for example. That's one example of how this might play out. But it's like I feel like you're breaking through that because I don't know, there's some sort of pattern breaking that you're doing, whether or not that's like with some other energy as a support, but it's allowing you to move forward into whatever it is that you're trying to create. So if we just go into your current energy, we have here the first card, the List of the Shadows, which I love. This card was such a relief to see, because I feel like it's kind of like you're breaking through patterns, absolutely. And this is one of the most like difficult energies to move through, because it's kind of like it takes so much momentum to be able to break through whatever the patterning is. And to help explain that, we have the Three of Voices, which to me talks about fear, specifically this card, but it also comes in with the energy of heartbreak. So how these two cards were coming through for you today, Leo, if you've watched any like apocalyptic like movies, or seen or read any stories about sort of like, it was coming through as kind of like a camp, right? Or like a quarantine area or something like that, right? Like where people live in sort of a walled enclosure. That's sort of what was coming through here. And the stories, propaganda maybe, even if you want to go that far, it's like the people, the main characters in that story are told their entire lives that you can't leave the encampment, right? Or like the enclosure, because what's outside of this sort of illusion of safety is danger, right? So that's kind of what I feel like the pattern in you is, that's being broken, is that you've been told perhaps your whole life that you can't go in a certain direction, or you can't go down that path. You can't do XYZ because it's dangerous, right? Or there's not anything out there for you, or whatever it is, fill in the blank for you. And it feels like you're absolutely breaking through that, because it kind of feels like there's something arriving, right? There's some sort of energy coming in that's disproving that to you, right? It's a direct opposition to what you've been told, or what you grew up believing, or something like that. It's a direct opposition to that. It's coming through with this energy, the Miracles and the Magician, which I absolutely love, because it's kind of like this Miracle card has been coming out a lot, and it kind of feels like it doesn't have to be entirely groundbreaking, right? Or like it doesn't have to be something like completely out there. It just feels like something that's like something very simple that is disproving some sort of belief or pattern that you grew up believing. And it's giving you all of this sort of like new energy to work with, right? Because it's kind of like all of that. Like if you just look at it's possible with this Three of Voices that you were receiving some sort of information before this, right? It's kind of like, because it looks like it's being channeled through you, is kind of how this is feeling. So it's kind of like you perhaps already had some sort of indication of what this truth perhaps, or this energy is. You had an indication of it already before this, but because it was directly conflicting to this limiting belief, it wasn't perhaps necessarily making an impact. But now it's kind of like, I feel like whatever this Magician energy is, this new thing, this new creative idea or path or energy that you're connecting to, is overpowering this fear, is kind of how it's coming through. That's what the Miracle is. It's the overpowering of fear that you may be experiencing, which is really lovely. And then what's coming out next after the list of the shadows is Tabira of the Waters and She of the Kurak, which I really love, because this Tabira of the Waters comes in with cleaning out, right? Like using water to clean out your vessel or whatever it is. It's very cleansing and healing energy, though it doesn't really feel like healing. It more so feels like cleaning out gunk, right? Especially if it's some sort of like mental belief that you have or something like that. Changing your thoughts can be a really challenging thing, especially if it's something like related to fear, right? Because sometimes fear can feel very truthful when most of the time it isn't. So it takes a lot of like cleaning out the gunk, is kind of how this card is coming through, in order to make your energy with the She of the Kurak to be open to all of the things that were shut off from it before, is kind of how this is feeling. Like this energy, this fear energy, was preventing you from seeing some aspect. And it's like now you're cleaning all of this out. You're cleaning out this energy. You're breaking through some sort of pattern. And it's clearing out all of this, which is really lovely, and allowing you to create with a lot of momentum, because you have here the Emperor card, the Knight of Voices, and the Ace of Emotions. So the Ace of Emotions is all of that clearing out, right? Cleansing energy, and unconditional love as well. So that could be what's helping you to clean out whatever it is that you're needing to clean out. It's a coming up for air energy as well. And I love that it's coming out with the Emperor and the Knight of Inspiration, because these are both action cards, right? I feel like whatever it is that you're doing, right? You're like, it just feels kind of like, it doesn't, well, perhaps maybe you are sort of cleaning out your physical space as sort of like a physical or environmental way in which to facilitate that energy, but it kind of feels like it's feeling a lot, especially with breaking patterns, that starts with your mindset, right? So I feel like it's very much a mindset clearing. it could have to do with masculine energies as well, perhaps, like how you take action or what you move towards, especially with the inspiration. A lot of it could have to do with like your creativity or what you would like to pursue. I'm hesitant to say hobby, but it kind of feels like maybe it has something to do with like what you were told was just a hobby or something like that, where it could potentially lead to more, is kind of how this is feeling. Maybe for one of you there's something like that, but I feel like it also, because it's also coming out with these cards, the Chariot and the Six of Inspiration, which I really love. Because it is all, this Chariot I always talk about as being solar plexus energy, your willpower, your ability to move forward, your belief in how you do so, like believing in yourself that it's going to be successful. It looks very much like a projection of success, right? That's kind of what this like new venture or this breakthrough is feeling like. It's projected to be successful, is kind of how this is feeling. And so for you, Leo, it kind of feels like, I don't know, it feels, all of your energy feels just kind of like, it feels almost like relief. Like I don't know if I'm connecting with the same Leo energy as I did for the last Leo moon energy, because that reading was extremely tough. There was so much frustration present in that energy, where this energy feels completely different to that, where it's like all of that energy is clear. It just feels like relief. There's something coming in, perhaps that's actively disproving some sort of really limiting idea that you've had, and it's like this miracle, let's call it, is allowing you to move forward really, really quickly. And it's projected to be successful, which I really love. It may have to do with some sort of partnership as well, because you have the Friends card and the Master Maker, which today is emphasizing sort of this partnership just because they're coming out side by side. So it could be something like some sort of partnership coming in terms of your work maybe, or with something else, right? It could be like a romantic partnership as well. Some sort of like relationship, a significant relationship that's kind of feeling like they are the ones that are disproving the negative belief. Because it's kind of like I believe that everyone has the ability to shift their own mindsets on their own, right? It's a core belief of mine, that change comes from within, absolutely. However, if it's something like where you've had all of your relationships in the past perhaps have shown you that, I don't know, it's just feeling like an imbalance in relationships, right? Like something like that for you, Leo. With some of the other cards that were coming out, it feels like it may be related to a belief in terms of like your relationships in the past were all imbalanced in some way, right? Either you were giving too much or you were taking too much, or it just wasn't a harmonious balance. But these two cards are coming out to emphasize that this new partnership, for example, are very balanced, are very harmonious, are very reciprocal as well. It's kind of like it works together. It's symbiotic. It's symbiotic instead of codependent, maybe, because there's also something here about, or it could be, if it's not a relationship, it could be, especially with this Emperor card, the symbiosis of your feminine and masculine energies within yourself, right? So it could be your understanding better the relationship between your feminine energies and your masculine energies, for example. So there could be that as well. But it kind of feels like, especially with this Friends card, that there's some sort of significant relationship could be just like a really good friend, right? Who's helping you to shift your patterns about relationships or success, or relationships, like successful relationships, relationships that work, relationships that are giving and nurturing and healing, rather than taking and draining and fill in the blank, right? It's kind of feeling like there's some sort of really lovely energy that's coming in to help you rebalance some aspect of your energy in relationships, or like work or creativity or passion or whatever it is for you, because you do have a lot of inspiration cards, which is talking about like passion is kind of how it's feeling today. And then you have here the Justice card, which I love. This is one of my favorite cards in this deck, because it talks about like when you make a choice, when you start moving in a particular direction, because you've made that choice, all of this sort of newness opens up, right? You get a lot of more information, you expand, you're able to see more clearly things that you weren't seeing before. The old patterning is shed, all of that kind of information. So it's feeling like, but it's also justice, right? That you've made perhaps the right choice is kind of how this is feeling. You made the right choice by stepping out of your fear, and a whole bunch of new opportunities are opening up for you is kind of how this is feeling. And these two cards are really important as well. All of your energy today is really lovely. Just that one card to start with, right? It's 3 voices, the fear, which you are stepping out of and leaving behind. And then you have here the Strength card and the Page of Cups, which I love, because this Page of Cups is feeling like it's so much opening of your heart chakra, right? It's the opening of the heart chakra, and because it's coming through with sort of this solar plexus energy as well, it's perhaps giving you the strength in order to follow your heart, or follow what it is that you love. It's putting love at the center rather than fear. So you're working from a place of love and strength and justice and inspiration and forward momentum. It's really lovely, gorgeous. Like, it just feels like, I need better words than that. I don't know how to describe this. It just feels like such relief, because it's like you're finally going towards something that you've been perhaps trying to break out of for a while, right? Like, it perhaps, I love that these two numbers are 44, so that might be significant number synchronicity for you. 44. And then this Master Maker here is 22, which is half of that. So it kind of feels like there's perhaps, with the Master Maker, the other person in this dynamic, this friend of yours, is perhaps also working through this as well. It's kind of like the two, because perhaps through your work, right? Perhaps you're meeting somebody through your work, and it's like, because it's so reciprocal, because this relationship dynamic is so reciprocal, it kind of feels like you both are helping the other to break out of a specific pattern, right? It doesn't feel like the same pattern. Perhaps it's like each one of you has their own sort of pattern that they needed to break out of, and it's like that you're coming together in order to do that, right? There's like a doubling up here. That's the miracle. The miracle is that you're doubling up, is kind of how this is feeling. And that's allowing both of you to break through some sort of pattern, which is really gorgeous and lovely. And then we have here the Geometry card and the Intuition, which is really interesting, because you have all 3 of your cards here were the Chance cards. The Chance cards, but it's interesting because this deck is called There Are No Coincidences, right? This is absolutely not a coincidence, especially with the Geometry, because that talks to me about like a regular pattern or an alignment of events or something like that. It's an alignment. And I feel like your intuition is really key here in terms of leading you toward, because if you haven't met this person yet, though I feel like you have, because it kind of feels like they're the ones who's helping. They are the one who is helping you to have this breakthrough, is kind of how this is feeling. So it feels like you know this person already. The intuition card is coming out here. Because perhaps it's not immediately clear in your physical environment. It's kind of how this is feeling. It depends very much on your third eye vision. Is your third eye vision. So it could be that you're having specific dreams that are really interesting, or are providing insight in some way, or you could just be seeing a lot of signs and synchronicities. So this partnership may not be actually in your physical environment yet, I want to say. It could be very much like it's starting off very spiritual, or starting off very much like at a distance or through non-physical senses, but it's going to grow and expand into something that's much more present in your physical environment, is how it's feeling. All right, Leo, I'm going to leave your reading there. We're going to move to the extended. If you're interested in that, link is in the description box. If this message resonated with you, please consider subscribing, liking, or leaving a comment. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day.